Welcome to Today in Prophecy Daily News in 15 minutes or less. News from the Bible's perspective. France on edge of meltdown as Le Pen poised to bring down Macron's government in 48 hours. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Well, there's lots of different views on which way that could go. President Bashar al-Assad's Aleppo palace invaded by Syrian rebels. IDF discovers chemicals and gas masks in Hezbollah strongholds, plus a lot more going on. Wow, did you see all that going on in Syria over the last 48 hours? Unbelievable. I said an update with John Howler a little while ago. I had another one earlier today with Lee Brainerd on his channel. Man, unbelievable to see all these things taking place. And then, of course, there's this news. Biden pardons his son Hunter despite previous pledges not to. If you've been following this, man, this has people upset on both sides of the aisle. Even people on his own team are calling him out on this one. Listen, a lot of people are saying the Biden family, the Biden crime family, what's going to happen coming in the future? I had a lunch with one of my friends just the other day before this happened. They asked me what I see coming. I said, Biden's going to pardon his son. He said, well, he said he wouldn't pardon his son. I said, do you actually believe it? And I accused my friend of watching CNN. He goes, no, I saw it on Fox News. I said, well, there you go. Either way. And I said, Biden's going to pardon his son, Hunter. He feels he's never going to do it because he said he wasn't going to do it. I said, everything you can tell Biden's lying because whenever he opens up his mouth, he's lying. So that's how you can tell. And then I just said this, he's his son. He's going to pardon him. You wait, you watch, you see. Well, here it is 2 days later after that lunch conversation. The news broke just the other day. This is exactly what Biden has done. He pardoned his son. Interesting dynamic to watch all of these things that are going on. Nevertheless, in fact, when that came up, you might remember we were talking about that here, Hope for Our Times, saying all of the things that were going on with the government going after Biden's son, after Hunter Biden. He's now guilty. Remember that? And I remember specifically saying, because I have a friend who's one of the attorneys that was working on that. I remember specifically telling people online, saying, hey, of course they're doing this now. It's all for show because Biden's going to pardon his son. So, I mean, it just seemed like a no-brainer to me. It's obvious the Biden crime family, they're a bunch of liars. Let's move on from there. France on edge of meltdown as Le Pen poised to bring down Macron's government in 48 hours. The French government may be about to collapse as Prime Minister Michel Barnier forced through the first part of his budget without a vote in the National Assembly. Mr. Barnier, the EU's former chief Brexit negotiator, had to employ Article 49.3 of the French Constitution to get his controversial plan for spending cuts and tax hikes through in response to being sidelined by the PM. Under the French system, lawmakers are able to pursue censure, otherwise known as a vote of no confidence against him. The 73-year-old could be out of his post within 48 hours, with the radical left New Popular Front effectively teaming up with the hard-right National Rally, the party of Marine Le Pen and Jordan Bardella, to oust him. I mean, we look at all of the different dynamics, and it's hard to keep up with everything that's taking place. Again, we're watching what's going on in Syria. We'll look over there in just a minute. All of that news over the last 72 hours. Now we're looking at France. Friends, unbelievable. Why are all of these things being shaken up? We're going to have a lot better understanding as we go through the next week and the week after that. We have, assuming Trump makes it to January 20th, we have a new president coming here in the United States of America. So looking at these different dynamics, what's going to happen with Israel now that you have these radical terrorists fighting each other in Syria? Unbelievable. But let's move on from here because it is hard to keep up with everything that is taking place. So what we need to remember this, again, we know how it's going to end. Jesus is on the throne. We need to remember this. God is sovereign. There is a new world order that is going to develop out of all of this. We know that. The Bible talks about that. But we also need to remember that New World Order is very short-lived. It has a maximum time life of 7 years, shelf life of 7 years. That's all it's got. It's like the shortest world order, shortest empire in the history of the world. And at the end of that, the real New World Order when Jesus comes back. We keep our eye on that. We can see different players. We can see all of these things shaking up. You throw in this with France and Macron. Many people named Emmanuel Macron as Antichrist. Listen, be very careful. Who you name as Antichrist, who you name as false prophet, I don't do that. I don't name who Antichrist is. I don't name who false prophet is. I don't predict dates of the rapture, but I do know this much. Jesus is coming. He's going to call us home. God is sovereign. He has everything under control, and we live in a time when it's absolutely amazing to watch all of these different dynamics. Everything is in play. When you look at Bible prophecy, folks, we live in amazing days. Let's move forward. The Jerusalem Post. President Bashar Assad's Aleppo palace invaded by Syrian rebels. Early reports showed rebels walking around the seemingly abandoned but ostentatious palace. All right, as we look at this, there's so many different things we could talk about with Syria right now. This is just one of the many. It is developing by the minute. As of right now, 5 airports have been taken by the rebels. And we have all of the different factions fighting there. We have rebel terrorist groups. Think of them like ISIS. You have Russia is involved. You have obviously Assad regime involved. We have, what else do we have? We have Iran. We have Iraq. You have the Kurds. You have all of the different dynamics. And we also have this taking place at the same time. We have Christians that are there that are being slaughtered right now by these radical Muslim groups. Keep that in mind. Pray for those believers in Christ that are living in Syria. Unbelievable to watch what's taking place. Why is all of this going on? My personal opinion, even talked with Lee Brainerd about this earlier today, and John Howler a little bit, that the CIA is involved in this, and you start looking at these different dynamics. The U.S. has supplied weapons to both the radical terror groups plus the Kurds. Is it, as John Howler said earlier today, is this an Obama parting shot as the Obama third term is coming to an end? So just the dynamics of everything developing. John Martin doing an outstanding job of keeping everybody updated on what's going on in Syria. We'll keep our eyes on it, but it is developing. Everything is changing so fast. Again, what we have going on with France, we have what's going on with Syria. We have a new president that's coming here in the United States of America. Unbelievable to see all of these different dynamics taking place at the same time. And then there's this out of the Daily News. Erdogan, the president of Turkey. Oh, by the way, there's also pro-Turkey groups that are there in Syria coming against the Assad regime. So, wow, as you look at all of this, a lot of different things taking place there in Syria. Note this, it's also right on the northern border of, just north of the northern border of Israel is where the Golan Heights is where Syria is. You have Lebanon there on the coast side, and then you have Syria there a little bit inland. So you look at the border of Israel. So you start looking at this. What do we know? Ultimately, God is sovereign. Ultimately, as we look at Syria, we do know Russia is going to have to take control of this situation. We do know that Russia, Iran, and Turkey are they're going to have to come to some kind of an agreement between themselves. And ultimately, Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 7 says that Russia is going to be a guard for the troops when they come against Israel. So Ezekiel 38 is not yet in play. Israel has to come to a place of peace. Russia has to get control of things there. Russia, Turkey, and Iran are going to have to get along. So interesting dynamic to watch all of it take place. I suspect that is all coming in the not too distant future, but ultimately it's a reminder where it's going to end up. Jesus is coming back. We're going to get called home. Let's move on from here. Erdogan vows, president of Turkey, to end terrorism at home and abroad. What? This guy end terrorism? We will build a Turkey without terrorism together, says Erdogan. The meeting marked the first provincial gatherings leading to a major Congress held scheduled for February 28 of next year. We are determined to deliver a country where terrorism is zero at home and abroad to our children. We want to break and throw off the shackles of terrorism that hinder Turkey's vision of the future. Everyone knows that Turkey is not someone's test bed, a line of tension, or an area of instability. You look at this, what is really going on with Turkey? I would suspect it has something to do with NATO. And whatever card he is playing right now, we do know there are pro-Turkey groups that are also over in Syria looking to overthrow pro-Turkey terrorist groups, how I understand them. Yet Erdogan, this, I would say, this evil man who hates Israel, he's probably the lead anti-Semite in the world, wanting to destroy the nation of Israel. He's saying something like this. He's definitely up to something. Check this out. IDF discovers chemicals and gas masks in Hezbollah strongholds. Materials hint at potential plans for chemical attacks or abductions during conflicts. You look at this, you go, wow. So Israel has definitely got the upper hand on Hezbollah. By the way, there was a ceasefire already broken by Hezbollah, but Israel is just decimating Hamas, really just doing an incredible job in the north against Hezbollah. But Hezbollah isn't quitting, but with the discovery of gas masks, what's that show? The Hezbollah was planning to do a lot more than just invade Israel, the Galilee region, but actually using chemical weapons. And remember this, Iran is the one who is supplying Hezbollah. Iran is the one who is directing Hezbollah. Hezbollah was is a proxy of Iran. So you look at that, what in the world was Hezbollah going to do at the authority with the authority of Iran behind them? And then we think of Ezekiel chapter 38, where we know in Ezekiel chapter 38, you come to the victory of Ezekiel chapter 39, and you can tell the people who, after the victory, the people of Israel who are marked, the bodies of the people who are dead must be marked, they must be flagged, and there's people that have some, check it out, Ezekiel 39 has some kind of suits, almost look like we would say like a hazmat suit, that go around burying the bodies. They're contaminated with something. You see this coming from Hezbollah in the north, and you start to realize, okay, what is this battle going to be about that's coming to Israel? Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39, you start to put things together, and you realize also, what's Israel concerned about? Will the destruction of Damascus come out of what's going on right now in Syria? Is there a threat? And there's been this threat for quite some time. Folks, the threat of gas being used against Israel, the threat of something nuclear used against Israel, Israel must stop that, but here they have they have the official discovery of these things. They've known about them all along, even in the area of Damascus, being a warehouse for this type of thing too, from everything that we've read. Folks, we live in absolutely amazing days, but listen, I will do my best to keep you updated. I'm going to keep you updated. Tomorrow, Avi Lipkin's going to be joining me. On Tuesday, Avi Lipkin's going to be joining me from Israel. Some of you know him. Going to be joining me at Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Listen, I'm going to get an update from him on what's going on in Syria, where he sees things there, what's going on in Israel. I want his information. He's going to be able to give us insight. So join me tomorrow for Avi Lipkin. And then, of course, also back here for Today in Prophecy tomorrow, too. God bless you guys. Talk to you later.